The computer as a teacher's tool. In this lesson, we shall again look at the computer, but this time from another perspective. The computer as a teacher's handy tool, it can in fact support that constructivist and social constructivist paradigms of constructivist learning. The constructivist was introduced by Piaget in 1981 and Brunner in 1990. On the other hand, social constructivism is constructed by individuals. Text, graphics, sound, and video are examples of informative tool, and the gathered information for composition or representations projects are examples of informative content tool. The Internet and the education is a global system of interconnected computer networks to serve billions of users worldwide. It is a network that consists of millions of private and public, academic, business and government networks of local to global scope that are linked by copper wires, fiber optic cables, wireless connections, and other technologies. The Internet carries a vast array of information, resources, and services. In addition, it supports popular services such as online chat, file transfer, and file sharing, gaming, commerce, social networking, publishing, video on demand, and teleconferencing and telecommunications. The Internet and education is a tool that helps the teacher use to add current details on his or her lessons, to check updates and changes regarding his or her subject matter. He may also use the Internet through email to interact with his students. The students may ask questions that they cannot understand through chatting with their teacher. The teacher may extend his lesson by posting the subject matter on the Internet, posting a video discussing his lesson. The students can view it on their vacant time or at home. They can also send their researches on email, saving time and money. For the students, the Internet is very useful instructional tool to help them in their problems in their school. The Internet is very helpful as an instructional tool as long as the users are well directed on using it if this being utilized as an aid in school. There are three approaches to the instructional use of computers and the Internet. First is learning about computers and the Internet, in which technological literacy is the end goal in this statement. There should be a certain goal to attain with the help of the Internet and the computer. Next, learning with computers and the Internet, in which the technology facilitates learning across the curriculum. Lastly, learning through computers and Internet, integrating technological skills development with curriculum application. The Internet helps you to enhance your skills for development of every individual. You can also learn by yourself. Distance education is the educational information and instruction is taught to learners who are physically distant from the source of that information and instruction. Distance education, also called distance learning, provides learning chances to people who could not afford time or money for traditional classes or who live in remote areas far from schools. Because of expansion, the Internet in recent years, the Internet has become the most important tool for delivering distance education. The advantages of distance education are you work from anywhere such as your home or workplace. In this, you can start or manipulate your own as long as you have the tools to be used. Next is you can register for a single course or enroll in an undergraduate or graduate degree, diploma or certificate program. You have the chance to decide what kind of distance learning program she or he wants to take. This is the example of a distance learning in which the learner are connected to the other user. The future of distance education depends primarily on the creative use and development of new technologies. They are connected with each other to communicate and to pass information with one another. These are the example of authentic activities, which are meaningful tasks added to learning opportunities. These activities are designed to resemble the kinds of situations that students will face in real world. Authentic activities allow computing solutions and diversity of outcomes activities, allow a range and diversity of outcomes to open to multiple solutions of an original nature, rather than a single correct response obtained by application of rules and procedures.
The characteristics of authentic activities is very important because it helps individuals to design identified in the literature. It provides the opportunity to collaborate. Collaboration is integral to the task, both within the course and the real world, rather than achievable by an individual learner. It also reflects activities need to enable learners to make choices and reflect on their learning both individually and socially. It integrated assessment of activities is seamlessly integrated with the major tasks, a manner that reflects real-world assessment, rather than separate artificial assessments removed from the nature of tasks. Lastly, authentic activities have a real-world relevance. Activities match as nearly as possible the real-world tasks of professionals practice rather than the contextualized or classroom-based tasks. Internet users take advantage of email, instant messaging, and asynchronous discussion. Through internet, the users may send their message to anyone through email, and it is easy and fast to communicate with each other. Next is the tools for communication. These are the tools for communication. Through these gadgets, you can now easily communicate people you want to talk. The gadgets are very important to every individual because it is the medium of communication. Through this, people may interact with each other for the important things that they need.
Tools for inquiry is an approach to learning that involves a process of exploring the natural or material world that leads to asking questions and making discoveries in the search for new understanding. Inquiry education is where structure meets fluidity, where we can create opportunities for students to be engaged in active learning based on their own questions. For students, this method of learning ends the lesson-to-learn paradigms of the classroom and gives them a real and authentic goal challenges to overcome. For the teacher, inquiry-based education ends their paradigm of talking to teach and recast them in the role of a college and mentor engaged in the same quest as the other younger learners around. Inquiry-based learning is not a new technique. In fact, it goes back to education philosopher John Dewey, but it does stand in contrast to the more structured curriculum-centered framework of today's schools. Asking questions is at the heart of inquiry-based learning. The goal is not to ask just any questions, of course, but ones that kids honestly care about. Your role is to guide the kids in finding the answers themselves and encourage them to ask new questions along the way.
Inquiry-based learning is a style particularly well suited for out-of-school programs because they have a free hand to complement, enhance, and expand on the work children are doing in K-12 classes. School-based teachers may not want to go so far as to make inquiry-based learning the core of their classroom approach. It does, however, offer a powerful option for occasional project and lab activities This article explains some of the key principles of inquiry-based learning for step-by-step information on how to create an inquiry-based project.
Inquiry-based learning is one of many terms used to describe educational approaches that are driven more by a learner's questions than by a teacher's lessons. It is inspired by what is sometimes called a constructivist approach to education, which posits that there are many ways of constructing meaning from the building blocks of knowledge and that imparting the skills of how to learn is more important than any particular information being presented. Not all inquiry-based learning is constructivist, nor are all constructivist approaches inquiry-based, but the two have similarities and grow from familiar philosophies. The inquiry-based learning on top represent the cycle on how to create such investigations. As we've noted, inquiry can be used in almost any kind of project or activities because it is fundamentally based on just one basic principle. Involve kids in the process of making learning decisions. Next is the construction skills are in high demand as our global infrastructure continues to rapidly expand. Amateur's Construction Technology Program provides the school with the tools needed to effectively prepare students to enter exciting careers like project manager, civil engineering, construction professional, mechanical engineering, and construction inspector.
Last, the tools for construction. Collaborative knowledge construction in computer mediated learning environment puts forward difficulties regarding what tasks learners work on and how learners interact with each other.
For instance, learners who are collaboratively construct knowledge in computer-mediated learning environments sometimes do not participate actively or engage in off-task talk.
Computer-mediated learning environment can be endorsed with socio-cognitive structuring tools that structure the content to be learned and suggest specific interaction for collaborative learners.
In this article, 2 studies will be reported that applied content and interaction-oriented structuring tools in computer-mediated learning environments based on electronic bulletin boards and video conferencing technologies.
In each study, the factors content-oriented structuring tool and interaction-oriented structuring tool have been independently varied in a 2x2 factorial design.
Results show that interaction-oriented structuring tools substantially foster the processes of collaborative knowledge construction as well as learning outcomes.
The content-oriented structuring tools facilitate the processes of collaborative knowledge construction, but have no or negative effects on learning outcomes.
The picture on top represents the construction of knowledge by doing such as creative or innovative things. Thank you for watching. Prepared by Maricel M. Hagunos, Jellyrose M. Medrano, Lalyn Malunao, 3rd year Filipino at Cagayan State University, Sanchez Mira, Cagayan.